the midterms. As you probably know, right now in America, primary season is in full swing. And the primaries are the elections before the elections that determine what's going to happen in the elections before the main election. Anyway, last night, 4 states held their primary elections. And it was actually a good night for Donald Jabberwocky Trump. You see, in South Carolina, one of the few Republican congressmen who voted to impeach Trump lost badly after Trump campaigned hard against him. Yeah, and that's the weird thing about Trump. He might not remember how to speak English, but he'll never forget anyone who's done him wrong. Yeah, he's probably got like a revenge spreadsheet, 400 rows deep, just sitting there on the computer like, insert row, format, enemy, formula, Mike Pence equals not good, print. Meanwhile, in Nevada, an election denier won the Republican nomination for Secretary of State, which, by the way, is the office that certifies the election. Yeah, and while that's not great for democracy, it is fantastic news for Donald Trump. Because you see, if this guy gets the job, that's like having your boy as your parole officer, you know? It's just like, nah, don't worry, man, I'll pee in the cup. We can't have you going away, man. We got a party on Friday. The only blemish on the night for Donald was that one of the candidates he endorsed in South Carolina lost. And boy, was she sorry.
Another South Carolina race gaining national attention is now decided. Representative Nancy Mace won the District 1 Republican primary against Trump-endorsed candidate Katie Arrington. Arrington conceded, endorsing Mace and apologizing to former President Donald Trump.
And to Donald J. Trump. Sir, I'm sorry I couldn't give you the birthday present that I wanted to give to you, but you will always be my number 45, my number 46.
You know, I don't know why anyone would think Trump supporters are a cult. It's just a normal woman apologizing to Trump for losing her election on his birthday. It's not a cult. This is a very normal thing. Please forgive me, dear leader. So normal, so normal. By the way, what was all that about you'll always be my number 45 and my number 46? Because I get what she said, but like, I know Trump was the 45th president. But is she saying that he's still the president? Because then he wouldn't be the 46th president. He'd still be the 45th president. That's confusing. And if I'm confused, you best believe Donald Trump is really confused. Best believe. Yeah, he's probably watching that speech like, wait, so I'm Joe Biden? What a twist! I should call him Night Shyamalan. But let's move on to some international news coming out of the United Kingdom, America's estranged father. Like many countries around the world, the UK has been dealing with an influx of refugees over the past few years. And usually when a refugee flees their country, they have the right to apply to any nation in the world to take them in. But recently, in response to the large number of requests, the UK announced that they've struck a deal with the East African nation of Rwanda to take the refugees that were trying to stay in the UK. Yeah, so in a way they did the geopolitical version of when your crush says, no, I'm sorry, but you should totally date my friend. And now obviously this arrangement has ruffled a few feathers. And before the UK could deport its first plane full of refugees, a European court cancelled the flights.
The first flight of a controversial deportation plan by the UK was grounded at the 11th hour. The plane was on the tarmac, its engines had started, and the cabin crew was seen boarding when the European Court of Human Rights intervened.
Under the controversial government plan, anyone who arrived in Britain illegally this year could be relocated to Rwanda.
Once in Rwanda, they'll be allowed to apply for asylum there, but not in Britain. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said it is about halting human trafficking.
We have to interrupt the business model of the gangs.
Human rights groups and church leaders have criticized the plan as immoral.
It's a tough story. Yeah, because usually when Boris Johnson takes a position, the opposite position is the right one. Yeah, that's why his hair is always like, wherever he goes, I'm going the other way. But if I'm being honest, if you ignore Boris, the argument does make sense. Many gangs, smugglers, and human traffickers have started abusing the refugee crisis to make money off of desperate migrants. right? And so by doing this, people who are genuinely trying to escape a war zone, they have a safe country to go to, but now the smugglers don't have a business anymore. Yeah, because no one's going to pay you to smuggle them into Rwanda. Yeah, it's true. If the UK wants its immigrants to leave, don't deport them. Just let them marry into the royal family, and eventually they'll leave on their own. It's long. They get something, they get out. And can I just say as an African, I take a little bit of offense when human rights groups in Europe say, you cannot send the refugees to Africa. Those are human beings. And who lives in Africa? Get the out of here, man. What does that mean? Yo, let me tell you something. I know some parts of Africa have it tough, but we've also got cities, we've got Wi-Fi, you know? We've also got racist white people. You guys left them behind, acting like we don't got shit. Some of these Europeans think the only hotel in Rwanda is the Hotel Rwanda. Actually, they've got a Radisson. Yeah, a Radisson Blue, by the way. There's a waffle bar and everything. This is the problem. This is the problem when there's only one well-known movie that takes place in your country. You know? It's all the people go on. It's like judging France based on Ratatouille. Not all the restaurants are run by rats. Because here, Rwanda was trying to do something nice, and then now they have to hear everyone talk shit about them? Imagine if you offered to donate a kidney to someone, and that person was like, no thank you, I'm gonna see if there's a more developed kidney. I'd be like, man, go pee blood then, bitch. Let's move on to some other news. What do you get when the worlds of fashion, history, and celebrity collide? Well, if you guessed Winston Churchill wearing couture at the Top Gun premiere, you're wrong, but that was a good guess. No. The big controversy that's blowing up the internet right now is what Kim Kardashian did with Marilyn Monroe's dress.
Well, one of the most iconic gowns in American fashion may now be damaged. A Marilyn Monroe collector is making the claim after Kim Kardashian wore a dress belonging to Monroe to the Met Gala last month. The collector says that there are missing crystals and several rips along the zipper. Monroe wore the dress while singing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy in 1962. There's no comment yet from Kardashian or Ripley's Believe It or Not, who lent the dress to Kardashian.
You know, sometimes I feel bad for Kim Kardashian. When she doesn't wear clothes, people are angry. When she does wear clothes, people are angry. What's a lady to do? But at the same time, Kim, what were you doing? The Marilyn Monroe dress is a one-of-a-kind piece of American history, right? It's one of a kind. That's it. The Met Gala happens every year. People dress like hamburgers there. You could have worn anything else. Because if you're entrusted with a piece of American history, you better do everything you can to take care of it. Everything. I mean, just as an example, I recently bought the stovepipe hat that was worn by Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. And the reason I bought it is because it's the perfect nacho bowl. Like, holds it really well, keeps it at a nice height, you know? But you see, when I'm done eating nachos out of it, I always make sure to rinse it out afterwards because that's being respectful. Yeah. The man freed the slaves. Come on, y'all. So look, Kim obviously took a big risk with a delicate artifact and it backfired. But you know who deserves most of the blame here? Ripley's. Yeah, they're the ones who loaned the dress to Kim. And first of all, why does Ripley's, believe it or not, even own this dress in the first place? A woman wore a dress? Yeah, I believe that. I think I can wrap my head around that concept. But because Ripley's owns the dress, they're in charge of preserving it. So if they told her it was okay to wear it, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? It's on them. Yeah, like I don't know about all the museum rules, what you can use, what you can't do with historical artifacts. I don't know any of that stuff. I only learned it from the story. Like if the Louvre called me and they said I could kiss the Mona Lisa for a selfie, I would do it. And I would use tongue. So look, a lot of people are at fault here. A lot of people have made mistakes. To make up for it, I think Ripley should have to sell the dress to a real museum that'll actually look after it properly. And Kim Kardashian, well, she has to show up to next year's Met Gala wearing some of the other historic items from the Ripley's collection. Yeah. She still pulls it off. I don't know how she does it. All right, and finally, like many tech companies who are riding high during the pandemic, Netflix is now no longer having a good time. Their share price has dropped 75%. They lost 200,000 subscribers. And it turns out the new comedy special they bought from Dave Chappelle was actually cake. So, other than laying off employees and raising prices, Netflix has to figure out another way to convince us to come back and chill. And so that's why they've decided to pin their hopes on a tried and true franchise.
This morning, Netflix says it is turning its smash hit Squid Game into a reality show competition series. Netflix released a promo announcing casting for Squid Game: The Challenge. The new show is set to offer the largest cast prize in reality TV history, a whopping $4.56 million. Squid Game is, of course, a South Korean series on Netflix. The reality show is looking for English language speakers from any part of the world. Netflix has not announced how they plan to adapt the game, where contestants compete in a series of schoolyard games.
Okay, wait, what? Wait. No. If you're gonna make Squid Game and nobody dies, then what's the point? So now I'm just watching people play red light, green light, and tug of war? What am I, a camp counselor? Shit, I didn't even watch the kids when I was camp counselor. And don't worry, most of them didn't drown. I'm just saying, this show was already about a game show. So you don't need to make a game show about it. You know, if you want to do this, you should take like a normal Netflix show and turn that into a game show. That makes more sense. Like Stranger Things. Yeah, you could put a bunch of contestants in a high school and see how long it takes until someone notices they're actually 25 years old. Either way, I'm just saying they better find something more interesting than cutting out cookies. Yeah, you know what they should do? One of the challenges should be you have to try to find the good shows on Netflix. Yeah. And let me tell you now, half the people are dying in that game. They're just like, which menu? All right, that's it for the headlines. Let's move on to something that everyone loves. It's time to check in on today's Lotto numbers with Dulce Sloan, everybody! What's going on, Dulce? How you doing?
Hello, friends. Now listen, I'm just here to do this here Lotto, okay? Now I know you've had other correspondents out here. I will not name names, but they don't want to give you the weather. They don't want to give you the traffic.
You've noticed.
I've noticed, and I have bills to pay, so I have no problem doing my job. So.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into the Lotto.
Get into the Lotto. Now I know that there's no cash prize.
Let's not talk about that. Let's just do the Lotto. We can just jump into it.
You're right. 7.
Okay.
4.
Wait.
What?
Are you just making up numbers and then they're popping up on the screen?
No, numbers have existed for thousands of years. I didn't make these up.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, are you just saying a number and then it popped? Like, where's the machine?
You don't need a machine. Why? Are you just trying to replace me? Is this a self-checkout situation?
No, I'm not trying to replace you. I'm just saying, where's the machine that chooses the numbers?
Oh, I can choose numbers. I'm a college graduate. You just want random numbers?
Yeah, like it has to be random. Like...
Yeah, I can give you a random number. Here, say a number.
Okay, 36.
Wrong, 19.
No.
By the way, listen, I was hearing what you were saying before. My girl, Kimberly Noel Kardashian. Why they keep coming for my girlfriend? Why they keep coming for my girl? Are we supposed to be mad that she wore this dress and it might have ripped a little bit and some sequins came off? Have y'all worn a dress with sequins? If you start with a dress and sequins, you don't end with a dress and sequins. That lets me know that y'all ain't never been to nowhere nice before, or you've never been to a soiree, obviously. That's how these dresses work, okay? That's not her fault. Plus, why would you give her this dress? You know that dress didn't fit. We all know that dress didn't fit. And why do we know that dress didn't fit? Because usually when you see Kim Kardashian at the Met Gala, she's giving you body, all of it. She had on a jacket around her waist the whole time. That dress didn't zip shut. Exactly. You've never been in a dress that couldn't zip shut? What do you have, a shawl on all night? Oh, it's never been 11 p.m. the night before prom, and you're like, well, this dress don't fit. Shawl. They took a 2022 ass and put it in a 1960s dress. You took a white lady dress and put a black lady ass in it. Of course it was not going to work.
Yeah, but Dulce, I think the bigger argument people were having is they're saying that that dress is a historical artifact. That's why Kim shouldn't have worn it. I think that's what they're saying.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, if you let me get a hold of like a historical artifact, say like George Washington's wig, oh, I am straightening that bitch and I'm in every pub in Atlanta.
You wearing it?
Listen, they've been accusing us for years for having horse hair, and now I bought some real horse hair, and I'm out here swag surfing and everything, and I got Thomas Jefferson's wig out here too.
All right, Dulce, let's get the rest of the Lotto numbers, please.
Oh, yeah. 38. 27. Ah! Congratulations, Mommy. You just won Lotto.
What? No. Family cannot win. Family cannot win. Dulce Sloan, everybody.